Live from the Dallastown Area Middle School studios.
These are your morning announcements.
Good morning, Wildcats. I'm Kobe.
And I'm Violet.
Today is Tuesday, February 14th, and today is Cycle Day 5.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
There will be no intramurals after school today. WAM Club will meet after school tomorrow.
We continue Spirit Week with Twin Day tomorrow. Dress like someone else. On Thursday, dress in Western attire or golf club attire. Let's see those cowboy boots or some plaid pants with sweater vests.
The results of the Dallastown Area Middle School Super Bowl canned food drive are in. The Eagles easily won by 96 donations over Chiefs 63 donations. Thank you for helping to support the Cat Packs program to end food insecurity.
Congratulations to the junior high girls wrestling team. They finished first out of 18 teams at their wrestling tournament this weekend.
First place winners were McKenna Dobbins, Avery Baldwin, and Noe Knott.
Second place winners were Kenna Hoffman and Layla Spura.
Third place was Sydney Malave.
Fourth place was Stella Jordan.
Mr. Tanner is celebrating a birthday today. Be sure to wish him happy birthday. We hope you enjoy your birthday, Mr. Tanner.
We now go to our special reporters to learn a little bit about the history of Valentine's Day.
Today we celebrate Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day wasn't originally a holiday for celebrating love. Pope Gelasius was the first technically invented Valentine's Day in AD 496 when he established this feast of St. Valentine in memory of the martyred saint who died on the day over 200 years before.
This day is a great day to tell your friends and family how much you appreciate them.
Fun facts about Valentine's Day. Over 145 Valentine's Day cards are sent in the U.S. every year, according to Hallmark. And that doesn't even include all those grade school Valentines exchanged in classrooms.
Many countries around the world celebrate Valentine's Day, but especially the UK, US, Canada, Mexico, France, Australia, Denmark, and Italy.
Cupid, the winged cherub often associated with Valentine's Day, is the mythical son of Venus, goddess of love.
Did you know that there's a town in Texas named Valentine?
Now, on a more serious note, please pay close attention to important information regarding your safety and security here at Dallastown Area Middle School.
We welcome back Mrs. Kaltrider and introduce Mr. Dyke.
Good morning, middle school. I am here today with Mr. Keith. He is our district safety coordinator, and we thought we're just past the midpoint of the school year. It would be a great time for us to go over some safety reminders and just some of our protocols that we have here in place at the district. So just a reminder that nothing is happening right now. There is no sort of emergency situation happening right now. These are just some reminders, and then we're going to follow up with a safety drill at the end. So again, no one is in danger right now, just have some information to share, so please don't panic. With that, Mr. Keith, take it away.
Good morning, Dallastown Middle School. Happy Valentine's Day. Always a good time to review our safety protocols. This morning, we're going to talk about two different things. At Dallastown, we divide our protocols into kind of two buckets, if you think of it that way. One is our lockdown response, and Ms. Kaltrider is going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And the second part is our active assailant response. Sometimes we call that active shooter response. And I just want to take a second to talk about those responses. So in the event of someone entering our building or someone being in our building that wants to harm a lot of people, we have a response that we call our run, hide, fight. So the initial reaction to someone trying to hurt us is really the announcement that is going to be made. Most of these things are spontaneous, and we don't have time to get on the the announcement system, but people's reaction to an event like this is going to be your response. So once that reaction occurs, what do? Well, we have three things in our tool bag: run, hide, and fight. So when we think about running, I want you to think about where are the exits that are close to you when you're in a building at a particular time. It's good to know the exits. Most of you, when we have an event like this, will be able to run from danger and get outside the building. And how far do we run? Well, you run until you feel safe. Okay? We want you to run until you feel safe, and when you feel safe, you can stop, collect together, and then start to go to one of the relocation areas. From Dallastown Middle School, we might go to Dallastown Elementary. We could go to the fire hall that's up past Tennis Court Hill, or we could go to the church that's right across from the fire hall. Those three areas are where we would reconvene and begin to gather and collect ourselves after the event. But we want you to run to the nearest exit. We want you to run as far as you can and as fast as you can, and when you feel safe, you can stop running. The second thing that's in our tool bag is hide. The easiest way to think about this is sort of like hide and seek. If the active assailant was in proximity to you, you could duck into a room, you could duck into maybe the locker room or some kind of corridor where you can get out of sight and kind of out of sight, out of mind. You want to hide, you want to be still, quiet, and things pass you by, you could run again. These things aren't like a one option fits all. You can do one to do the other. The object being just being out of sight and out of harm's way for a period of time, and then getting to safety as quick as you can. Hiding, though, could also be a barricaded room, much like a lockdown where things are right on top of you and your fellow classmates, and you can't run. So we're going to hide in a room and use a barricade to block the door. When we barricade that door, we want to use as much furniture as we can. Just make a tangled mess in front of that door so it makes it very difficult for someone to enter and hurt you. Don't worry about being nice and neat in your barricade. Just make a tangled up mess of as much furniture as you can in front of that door. The person that's trying to hurt you won't want to deal with that mess and is going to move along, and that's how we hide. The last thing that we'll talk about is fighting. Fighting may be like a hand-to-hand combat kind of thing, but it's more likely to be noise, distraction. All these things disorient people, so movement. This is a last resort that we employ when the incident is right on top of us, right in front of us, and we don't have the option to get away, and we don't have the option to take time to hide or build a barricade. So fighting is something that we would, you have permission from the district if you're in this type of situation to pick up district property and throw it, break things, whatever it takes to really distract, disorient, and get this person kind of off their plan. You have the ability to do that. And while you're doing that, some of your other classmates and teachers may then have an opportunity to run, and this assailant may get frustrated by your efforts and may move on, and you'd be safe again and be able to run or hide. So in review, we have three things in our tool bag when we're faced with an active assailant. Running, that's our best option and our first option. If we can run from danger, we want you to run from danger. Know your situation, know your exits that are close to you in the building, where they are in the building, and always run if you can. Hide when you can't run, but hide to maybe run again. But when you hide, if you have to barricade, use as much furniture and items as you can, make a tangled up mess, make it really difficult for people to enter the room that you're in. And then fight is our last resort if you have to, and that is really movement, distraction, noise, things that disorient someone who's trying to stay on task. That confuses them, gets them off task, and makes them less effective in the plan that they have. So these are our response efforts: run, hide, fight, three things in our tool bag. And once we've survived the incident, we're going to reconvene. There'll be communication. We'll get you all together in a location. We'll get your parents here to pick you up, and then we'll send you home, and we'll deal with what we have to afterwards. So that's run, hide, and fight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keith, for sharing our run, hide, fight protocols. Hopefully that's information that we never have to use, but it's, again, important to review that just in case.
Absolutely.
And next we're going to talk about our Safe to Say program, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So Safe to Say is a program that is across the country, actually. Dallastown participates in it. It's run through the Attorney General's office, which is up in Harrisburg. Well, what Safe to Say is a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year hotline where you can really be someone's hero. I use that phrase a lot to just emphasize the importance of Safe to Say. Safe to Say is an anonymous, which means when you call in or when you get on the app and report something, they don't know who you are. You report incident where someone may be thinking about harming themselves or someone may be planning to harm someone else. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 8 out of 10 people that have a plan to harm people talk about that long before they actually do that plan. So what we're hoping is when people hear or get nervous about someone wanting to hurt themselves or maybe someone wanting to hurt others, you could use this Safe to Say line. There's 3 ways to report. One is, and the easiest one is the app that you can download. So if you get on your app store and look up Safe to Say Pennsylvania, you can find the app on there, download that app, and that is the fastest, most efficient way to report anonymously a tip that you have that someone may be thinking about hurting themselves or hurting someone else. The second way is there is a phone line where you can actually call, and these things will be on your screen if they haven't been already. And the third one is a web site that you can go to that is a Safe to Say website. But I would encourage you, I know most of you probably have and carry a phone. That Safe to Say app is easily downloadable, very simple to use. Please download it, and if you think someone is considering hurting themselves or hurting someone else, use that Safe to Say app. That tip that comes in gets sent to a team of us here at the school, and it gets sent to law enforcement at the same time so that we can immediately begin to investigate and can help someone in their time of need. So be someone's hero when you get an opportunity and use that Safe to Say line.
And you're right, Mr. Keith, we are going to put that Safe to Say information up on the screen when we are done going over our safety information here today. And you've probably also seen some posters around the school with the information on how to access Safe to Say. So a very important program to be aware of if you feel like someone is in danger. The last thing we wanted to talk about today is what we call our medical lockdown procedure. So every now and then you will hear over the announcements that we are going into a medical lockdown. In fact, you probably have already heard this earlier this school year. So we wanted to take a moment and explain what that is because some students get really scared when they hear that we're in a medical lockdown. Specifically, that word lockdown can be scary. So I wanted to explain to you here at Dallastown, when we use the word lockdown, it does not mean that you are in danger. All it means is that something is happening in the school and we don't want any people in the hallway at that time. And I'll give you a perfect example. When you see Dr. Peters, ask him about the time a deer got into a school where he was working. There was really a full-size, real-life deer who got into the school building. That is a perfect example of why we would not want students in the hallway at that time. So if something like that happened, maybe there's a skunk in the hallway, right? Nobody wants to be there for that. Those are situations, I get it, those aren't medical, but those are times we would want to lock down, meaning no one should be in the hallway until we tell you it's okay. The reason we use the phrase medical lockdown is because more often than not, the reason we call a lockdown is because there's some kind of medical situation. Maybe someone fell down and broke their leg in the hallway and the ambulance is going to come and help them out. We wouldn't want other students in the hallway at that time. Maybe someone got sick in the hallway. We wouldn't want you walking through that, right? So those are the kind of reasons that we call a medical lockdown. It does not mean that you're in danger. Class can continue as usual. Your teacher's going to close the door and just continue teaching. You continue working on whatever you were doing. If you are in, say you're in the hallway or you're in the bathroom when we call a lockdown, what you would do, first thing to do is listen to that announcement, because typically we're going to tell you, depending on what's going on, we might say, go back to your classroom. And you leave the bathroom, you leave the hallway, you go back to whatever classroom you're to be in. If it's something super urgent, like maybe there's a skunk in the hallway, that's like, you know what, we don't even want to take time to get back to our normal classroom. We might make an announcement that says, go to the nearest classroom, because we want you behind closed doors as soon as possible. So it's important when you hear that word lockdown over the announcements that you just listen for directions and do whatever the person making the announcement is telling you to do. Then you will listen for another announcement, because we always come back on and say something along the lines of the medical lockdown has been lifted. And that is your cue that you can go back to business as usual, going in and out of the classroom as you typically would. So teachers, just a reminder that there is an attendance piece that goes along with this. It's a great time to practice kind of our emergency attendance taking procedures. So we are going to do that immediately following these video announcements. You will hear an announcement over the PA system that we are doing a medical lockdown. This is just a drill. So again, there is no active situation right now, but we just thought it would be a good time to practice those procedures. So with that, I think that's all the information we have for you today. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for the lockdown drill.